Hi, this is John Linnable, and this is Medical Words, so let's get started. What we're covering here, some useful medical words to know for educational, college admissions, and general life improvement purposes. A few other relevant fun facts. Whatever else comes up as I'm recording this. If you like this video, please don't forget to give this a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and click on the little bell in the top right corner for notifications. Who'd like this? Well, high school and college students studying for the SAT and ACT, students waiting at home during the current outbreak, people learning English, or anyone else learning, I'll try that again, anyone else looking to learn medical terms. An important legal disclaimer. Nothing discussed here is legal or medical advice. If you have a legal or medical problem, go see a lawyer or doctor in your jurisdiction. And if you wouldn't hire this guy to be your doctor, don't take medical advice from a YouTube video, especially not one of mine. Okay. I believe any excerpts from copyrighted materials used in this video fall within the fair use exceptions, parody, commentary, etc. to any applicable copyright laws. If you don't like the way I've used your intellectual property in this or any other video, please contact me before you complain to anyone else. I'm not saying I'm going to change my mind, but please let me know first. And you can contact me using the information that I give you at the beginning of each video and probably at the end of each video as well. Thank you. Medical and related words. Insidious. Insidious means proceeding in a gradual way, but with harmless effects. So something that doesn't seem harmful becomes harmful, like that horror movie Insidious, where they adopt the little girl, whatever. Drinking can be insidious. Taking drugs can be insidious. Overeating can be insidious. Oh, it's not that bad. Then all of a sudden you have a heart attack or something like that. Invidious, which sounds like insidious, so that's why I'm going over it, means causing resentment. For example, discrimination based on race, sex, etc. is invidious discrimination because it causes resentment. Somatic is relating to the body. A somatic cell is a body cell. Psychosomatic is a condition whereby physical symptoms are caused by mental or psychological problems. So somebody might experience extreme psychological trauma. All of a sudden they're blind, even though there's nothing wrong with their eyes or the nerves or their brain or something like that. That would be a psychosomatic response. You see someone else who's got a headache, all of a sudden you have a headache. Again, that's psychosomatic. Genotype is your inherited genetic characteristics you have, that is your chromosomes and genes. The phenotype is what your body looks like. Different genotypes may cause the same phenotype, but the same genotype may lead to different phenotypes. So not everybody who's tall is tall because they have the same genes. Some of them may have been raised with better or worse nutrition, etc. And then there's the whole epigenetics, which controls what genes are turned on and turned off in animals with these, or plants even with these same genes. So there's a lot going on there. Nosy words. Rhino means nose. Rhinoplasty is a nose job. Creation of a new nose. So here we have the Tom's rhinoplasty from South Park. And rhinoceros is an animal with a huge horn on its nose, so we see that here. And a rhinovirus is a virus that gets up your nose, cold and flu viruses, or the certain virus that we've all been obsessed with for the last few months here. Okay, crowning words. For example, coronavirus. Corona means crown. Coronavirus, according to Wikipedia, they have characteristic club-shaped spikes that project from their surface, which in electron micrographs create an image reminiscent of the solar corona from which their name derives. So that's where they got the coronavirus. I was wondering, what is this crown? I don't see a crown, but all right, sort of. Solar corona, corona, Latin for crown, is an aura of plasma that surrounds the sun. So you see this yellow ring or crown, and it surrounds the sun and other stars. So that's from Wikipedia's stellar corona entry. Coronation is, of course, the crowning of a king or a queen. All right. Hardy words. Cardio means heart. So when people talk about cardio exercise as opposed to weightlifting, cardio is exercise like running or, jumping up and down or doing the rowing machine, things that work your heart, as opposed to just strict resistance weightlifting, which doesn't work your heart quite as much. Electrocardiogram, well, electro means electricity, duh. Cardio means heart, gram means right, graph also means right. So an electrocardiograph would be literally a chart that's created by monitoring your heart. So they might use that. They call it an EKG, even though cardio begins with a C. Don't ask why, they just do. They use that in hospitals and with EMTs and stuff like that. They'll do an EKG to see what's going on with your heart. A cardiologist is a doctor who studies the heart. Cardio means heart. Ologist, one who studies. Ology is the study of. So the cardiovascular system is the heart and blood vessels, vascular arteries. Here's a vessel of knowledge. A vessel is just something that contains something, like a bottle is a vessel, a glass is a vessel, a boat is a vessel containing the people that are floating in the boat. Angiogram is an angio, means relating to blood or seed vessels. Gram means writing, so does graph. So an angiogram is where they're taking a look at what your vessels look like. For example, here, you can see the nifty white blood vessels there on what looks like a heart. Angiosperm. An angiosperm is a plant with seed vessels, casings. So you can see the Wikipedia entry for angiosperm and the Wikipedia entry for angiogram. Following the path. Okay, path, when it's a word root, means sickness, suffering, or disease. Pathos is emotion. So when you think of something as pathetic, it's weak or it's sad. Idiopathic is a disease with an unknown cause. So idio means a person's own. Hey, you're on your own. We don't know what causes it. Path, suffering, and sickness. So you know what? You can go your own way, bud, because we don't know how to solve your disease. No, they don't really say that, but anyway, one way you can remember what idiopathic means. Pathology is the study of sickness. Reminds me of when I had an internship at Albert Einstein College of Medicine in New York City, long time ago. I had this shirt with little skulls printed on it, and somebody on the elevator with me said, "Oh, you must work in pathology." So pathogen is something that causes sickness, a bacterium, a virus, perhaps chemical toxins or radiation. So path, sickness, degenerate, cause. So something that causes sickness is a pathogen. Other paths, well, here's Ted Bundy, not to be mistaken for Al Bundy. He was a famous psychopath. He was a person suffering from a chronic mental disorder with abnormal or violent behavior. He had the charming habit of killing a whole bunch of people in the early 1970s. So not a nice guy. Let's just say if you were a young woman in the early 70s, you didn't want to date with Ted Bundy. Okay, anyway, some would say others suffer from that person's behavior. Ha ha ha. He was perfectly okay with the behavior. It's just the women he killed were really, they were the ones who suffered. Sociopath. A sociopath is someone who repeatedly engages in inadequately motivated antisocial behavior. Now, people get really tripped up on this antisocial part because they think, oh, that's like a wallflower. That's a guy who, sits in a corner at a dance and doesn't want to dance or doesn't want to talk to people at a party. No, that's a geek. That's a nerd. That's someone who's shy. There's a lot of things that person may be. That is not a person who is engaging in antisocial behavior under this meaning. That person is, well, the person who's engaged in antisocial behavior, like let's say Ted Bundy here, he'd be the life of the party. He'd be up in everybody's face. He'd be a little inappropriate, but a lot of ladies think it's cute, and people think, oh, this guy's pretty cool. Other people think, oh my God, what a jerk this guy is. But anyway, it's not, he wouldn't be the geek. He's just somebody who, goes and does bad things, ranging from little things to big things for no real reason. So it's like, if you know somebody who lies all the time, even when they don't have to, good chance that person's a sociopath. Somebody steals all the time because even though they don't have to. Again, it's just because they have an opinion about society, which is, I'm special, you're not, I deserve your things, I deserve to be able to do whatever I want. Not a good person to have in your society. So this is someone who likes to break the rules even when there's no reason. All right. Toothy words, dental terminology. To tell the tooth? Okay, stop throwing things at me. Maxillofacial, dealing with the jaw and face. Maxilla is jaw, obviously facial refers to face. Mandible is the lower jaw, mandibular relating to lower jaw. Masticate is chew. I know it sounds like a naughty word, but no, masticate means chew, like does not mean the other thing. Dont means teeth, tooth. So periodontal is relating to the structures surrounding and supporting the teeth. Periodontal disease is if your gums bleed, you have some kind of tooth or palate disease, I guess maybe. An endodontist is a dentist dealing with the soft tissue pulp inside the tooth. So endo means inside. Orthodontal is the treatment of irregularities in teeth, especially alignment and occlusion, including the use of braces. Got crooked teeth? Probably going to want to go to the orthodontist to get some orthodontal work done, probably braces, etc. Occlusion is a position of the teeth when the jaws are closed. So it can also mean a blockage in a vessel or organ. So, okay, that's what orthodontists work on, or occlusions in your teeth, or fixing your occlusion. All right, so here are the head words. Cap means head. Capital is the head city, so Washington, D.C. is the head city of the United States. Sacramento is the capital or head city of California. Albany is the capital or head city of New York. Decapitate, cutting someone's heads off. Capital punishment, execution, your head is cut off, metaphorically, if not literally. Per capita means per person. Every person has one head. Per capita consumption of a product means how much of the product is consumed when you divide it by the number of people. So if I recall correctly, the last time I read about this statistic, Australians consume the most beer per capita in the world. So take all the beer they consume in Australia, divide it by the number of people who live there, they've got the highest number. Okay. More head words. Cranium is skull. So cranial, the suffix cranial, means dealing with the skull. So a cranial fracture would be a broken skull. Intracranial would be inside the skull. So remember our friend Ted Bundy that we talked about? Many people suggested the best treatment for his problem, sociopathy, was an intracranial injection of tungsten lead alloy at very high speed. That is, him being shot in the head with a bullet. They didn't do that, but they did fry him in the electric chair. So anyway, but it is a clever way to say something, the best treatment for this person is a high-speed intracranial injection of lead tungsten alloy. That is, he needs a bullet in his head. All right. Orbital, dealing with the eye socket. An orbital fracture is when the bone around your eye, that is right about here, is broken. Those are not fun things. That usually means that you were in a bad accident or somebody kicked the living snot out of you in a fight. All right. Brainy words. Encephalopathy, disease by which the function of the brain is affected by an agent or condition. Encephalomyelitis, inflammation of the brain and spinal cord, which is surrounded by something called myelin. So that's when the myelin is inflamed as a result of the viral infection. Itis means an infection. All right. Anencephaly means having almost literally no brain. Wikipedia says anencephaly is the absence of a major portion of brain, skull, and scalp that occurs during embryonic development. It is a cephalic disorder that happens in your head that results from a neural tube defect that occurs when the rostral head end of the neural tube fails to close, usually between the 23rd and 26th day following conception. Anencephalic, an means non or no, is literally a person with or the state of having no brain. So I've seen nasty posts online. Are all followers of, pick a politician you don't like here, anencephalic? Ho, ho, ho. Okay. Hydrocephaly, water on the brain. Buildup of water in ventricles deep in the brain, usually in infants or the elderly. It causes brain damage. So hydro literally means water. Cephaly deals with the brain, so literally it's water on the brain. More brainy words. Microcephaly is having a brain circumference that's significantly smaller than average, also known as being a pinhead. So you can see here on the bottom, they have a baby, and this is the size his head should be, where the dotted line is, but it's only where his actual head is. Okay, and then we have Zippy the Pinhead, a cartoon character. And then you can have macrocephaly if you have a large head. Officially, you are macrocephalic if you are in the 98th percentile for all people, or more than 2 standard deviations greater than the mean for your age. So here we have a kid who's macrocephalic, but of course he has this thing growing on the back of his head. So I'm like, not so much concerned about how big this is what the heck is that? Okay. Nervy words. Dendrites and neurons, they're branches. Dender means branch, shrub, smalls. Okay. I can probably find this for you here. Okay. Axons and dendrites. Okay, so we have axons and dendrites right here. You can see axons versus dendrites. Okay, we have a dendrite. You have an axon here, so this is the axon. They meet at the dendrite, and they meet at a synapse, which is a little space here, where the synapse sends little microtransmitters, neurotransmitters, between the axon and the dendrite. All right, oops. The axon is the cell body, and okay, and the dendrite is little branches that branch off of nerve cells. So again, you have okay, you have an axon, neuron, and okay, you have a dendrite here. You have the cell body, which is the soma, and then you have these things here, terminals, which go back to the axon. All right, anyway, just know axons and dendrites. Axons are cell bodies, dendrites are the branch-like things that come off and connect at the synapse, where they use neurotransmitters to communicate with other cells or to communicate with each other. All right, neuro means dealing with nerves. Neurotoxin means a poison or a toxin that attacks the nervous system. Neuropathy or neuropathy, however you want to pronounce it, is a disease of the nervous system. Neuralgia is a pain that is an algia. Algia means pain in the nerves. Neuralgia is a stabbing, burning, and often severe pain due to an irritated or damaged nerve. The nerve may be anywhere in the body, and the damage may be caused by several things, including aging, diseases such as diabetes or multiple sclerosis, and infections such as shingles. So that's from healthline.com. Words for procedures. All right, we have an ectomy. A tonsillectomy is a removal of tonsils. An appendectomy is the removal of an appendix. Basically, name the organ and add suffix ectomy. So appendectomy is when your appendix is removed. Otomy is surgically cutting into an organ. So a lobotomy is cutting into the frontal lobes of the brain. You can think of the old Ramones song, Teenage Lobotomy, or the Animal House theme that talks about, they'll get it a lobotomy. Anyway, ostomy is putting a hole in that organ. Colostomy is putting a hole in the colon. Stoma is a hole through the neck to breathe through. You can see all those smoking commercials. Make sure you clean your voice hole when you are using us. That's a stoma, is in that person's neck. Okay. Miscellaneous terms. Axillary means relating to the armpit. Itis means inflammation, as we talked about before. Nephritis is inflammation of the kidney. Nephr is kidney. Inflammation is redness, swelling, soreness, often as a result of infection or injury. Tonsillitis is an inflammation of the tonsils. And here's some humor. When kids would skip school or not work very hard towards the end of their senior year of high school, the joke was, oh my God, they're suffering from senioritis. So when high school seniors slack off towards the end of the year, the itis, that's a Boondocks cartoon episode, sleepiness after eating, especially food like this in the background, which I believe is Luther Vandross's hamburger that is served on a cut open Krispy Kreme glazed donut with some fries. Believe me, you will get the itis and need to sleep after that. If you haven't seen that Boondocks cartoon episode, I strongly suggest you see it. More miscellaneous terms, histological entropy. Brett Weinstein's Dark Horse podcast talks about that. It also talks about it as epigenetic entropy. So that's basically disorder, which is entropy in cells, histo, which means cells. Histology is the study of cells. As cells are damaged and replaced, genetic information is lost or transcribed incorrectly. So the cells that replace the old cells aren't as good as the old cells, so it causes aging. Profound equals deep. So if you're profoundly mentally challenged, that means you're really mentally disabled. If you're profoundly physically challenged, you're profoundly physically disabled. Other miscellaneous terms, pandemic. Well, pan means all, everything, disease prevalent all around the world. Epidemic is a widespread occurrence of a disease in a given community at a given time. So an epidemic might be a breakout of food poisoning in your neighborhood. Pandemic is the you-know-what that's going on right now. Epidemiology is the study of epidemics. Public health is the prevention and management of disease, promotion, and health in the community. So more disease is prevented by good public health than is cured by medical doctors. Improvements of engineering, for example, the creation of the aqueducts of ancient Rome, people washing their hands, just basic sanitation. Believe me, that has saved a lot more lives than all the doctors ever. No disrespect meant to doctors, it's just true. Okay. Breathy words. New, long breath. Pneumonia is a category of diseases characterized by fluid in the lungs. The nurses were very strict about making patients walk or at least sit up in bed as much as possible to avoid the patients developing pneumonia. And they really do that in the hospital. If you're stuck in bed, they're going to make you get out if you can, or they're going to make you at least sit up for a while and blow into this little thing, because they definitely don't want you getting fluid in your lungs. You can see here in your air sac, a normal one, great, look how the air goes in. Here, the air's got to try to get through this fluid in your air sac, and that doesn't work so well. Oxygen won't get into your bloodstream. Apnea. Apnea means not breathing. It's meaning not, and pnea meaning breathing. So sleep apnea is a condition where people stop breathing in their sleep until they wake up enough to gasp for air due to soft tissues collapsing. Basically, they fall asleep, soft tissue kind of collapses from its original spot, ends up blocking your back of your throat, whatever, your air pipe, so you can't breathe down it. Epiglottis, I believe. Anyway, you can't breathe, your CO2 level in your blood goes up until all of a sudden your brain says, wait a minute, there's way too much CO2. We need to get rid of some of this and breathe out. So it wakes you up a little bit. You go, they'll be snoring really loud and then wheezing and then wake, That's not good for you. Yo, atrium. Well, one thing is that sleep apnea can lead to diseases of the atrium. And so here's Sylvester Stallone. Okay, his girlfriend's name was Adrian, not Atrium. But when they did the parody in the Mad magazine, they did name her Atrium. So here you go. Yo, Atrium. Hey, why are you such a good part of the heart? Hey, all right. Anyway, atrial is dealing with the atrium of the heart, derived from the ancient Roman atrium, which is a great big open roofed entryway into a building. If you've ever been to a sports arena or a concert arena, they usually have a big atrium that you come into and leave from. So the atria, plural of atrium, receive blood from the body. Like we can see, the right atrium gets the deoxygenated blood, which goes to the right ventricle, which is then pumped out through the pulmonary vein, gets oxygenated, ends up coming back into the left atrium. So left atrium receives the oxygenated blood, and left ventricle pumps it all out through the aorta. So, all right, fibrillation is very fast but useless pumping. So if you're suffering from atrial fibrillation, one of your atria is pumping really hard and pumping really fast, but it's not hard enough to be useful. So it's pumping really fast, but not hard enough to be useful. And ventricle is the lower chamber of the heart. The pumps blood out. Okay. So anyway, internal words. Internal medicine is the prevention, diagnosis, and treatment of internal disease, usually treats with drugs, etc., rather than surgery. An internist is a practitioner of internal medicine. Genetics are the study of heredity and the variation of inherited characteristics. Epigenetics in biology. Epigenetics is the study of heritable phenotype changes that do not have alterations in the DNA sequence. So even though two animals may have the same DNA, they may be expressed differently, so they don't look the same. Their body type, that is, their phenotype, looks different. So, okay, according to Wikipedia, epigenetics involves genetic control by factors other than an individual's DNA sequence. Epigenetic changes can switch genes from on to off and determine which proteins are transcribed. Okay, it doesn't say from on to off, it says can switch genes on or off. So, okay, so that's a lot of control over the genetics then, if you can switch genes on or off. Degenerate words. The degeneracy of the genetic code is not a bad thing. I know a lot of you think, wait a minute, when I hear the word degenerate, I know it means immoral, dirty, scummy. Someone is called a moral degenerate. That doesn't mean they're a good person. This is a different kind of degeneracy. Degeneracy of the genetic code is an important protective mechanism. More than 1,3 base, that is, a base is an amino acid, sequence codes for the same protein. That means the mutation that changes one base in a sequence may not change the protein coded for the sequence. So let's say something screws up in something that codes for leucine. and this A, which stands for adenine, somehow is changed to a G. Doesn't matter. UUA and UUG both code for the same, both code for leucine. So, okay, you could have CUU. Well, one changes to a C, no problem. Changes to an A, still no problem, CUA. So, all right, if you have CUU and it changes to CUG, codes for leucine. So that's a little error control by your genes. All righty. So, did you find this video useful? If you did, please like it and subscribe to this channel. Neither action costs you anything. You'll be alerted about my new videos. Why do I care? It's simple. YouTube doesn't let me share any ad revenue unless I have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 errors. That's 4,000 errors, 4,000 hours. That's 240,000 minutes of view time in an air. Okay, in a year. Lots of errors here. Okay, anyway, basically, I need 1,000 subscribers. I need 4,000 hours of view time in a year. You can help me with those without paying any money out of your pocket and without getting spammed to death by YouTube or anybody else. While many people are watching these, I don't have anywhere near 4,000 hours of watch time. I also don't have anywhere near 1,000 subscribers, although I'm not as far away as I used to be. For the same reasons, you're not only welcome, but encouraged to share links to this video, put in playlists, etc. I'm always happy to read and respond to constructive criticism or suggestions for new videos. I reserve the right to delete comments from and block those who specialize in constructive criticism. That is, trolls, those people. Or people who like to post things that are off topic, just people who are either trying to spam for some business, or just people who are bored or really disturbed and want to act out in some way. So if you want to contact me, I did promise that I would give you this at the end as well. My cell phone is 415-623-4251. You can email me at john@johnlinnebaugh.com. You can mail me at 1859 Powell Street, number 109, San Francisco, California, 94133. And thank you so much for watching.